Hollywood usually reserves its powerhouse films for the Christmas season. We're going to be talking about some of them and holiday entertainment on Online today.
Jimmy Carter, not the president, is our guest. He'll be talking to us. But first, here's Sharon Puckett with News to the Minute.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Cynthia Williams. In the news, today and tomorrow are big holiday travel days across the nation. AAA says that more than 75% of those traveling will go by car. Make sure, though, that you're prepared as you hit the highway. AAA recommends double-checking your car battery, your windshield wipers, and your tires. If you are traveling by air, officials recommend arriving an hour and a half before your flight. The much-talked-about PSLs will go on sale soon. Those are the personal seat licenses for Nashville's proposed pro football stadium. 10 FL officials say that prices will range from between $250 and $4,500. More details will be released the second week of January. Metro Police are investigating a murder this morning. 30-year-old Van Phillips was found tied up and beaten to death at his home on DeVille Drive last night. That brings Metro's murder rate up to 103 for this year. Checking the forecast. Today, cloudy with flurries, a high of 32 degrees. Winds will be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy with more flurries with a low of 21 degrees. The winds will be out of the northwest. Tomorrow, high of 31. Winds out of the northwest at 10, a low of 20. And expect those flurries to continue. That's News to the Minute. Time now for Online.
And now, WSMV Channel 4 and 1240 WKDA Radio bring you Online with Teddy and Carlin, an exchange of ideas. Here are your hosts, Teddy Bart and Carlin Evans.
Jimmy, you gotta really feel that maybe Oliver Stone is living under some kind of a lucky star or something like this, with all the white water on the front page of the paper. It's just a promo.
He planned it that way.
It's a promo for Nixon, isn't it?
Oliver Stone's a very unusual man. He's a brilliant man, and if he could just make movies like kids' movies or regular movies, he'd be doing what he's supposed to do. But he's hung up on politics, the Vietnam War, and the 60s.
Yeah, he sure is. JFK, of course, by Oliver Stone, and some Vietnam movies, and now Nixon.
You've just made Teddy's holiday. I just want you to know.
Show him the book, Teddy.
Yeah, I will.
For Christmas.
Let's
And you
go
can buy this, by the way. I didn't.
Jimmy didn't write this.
This is my holiday book, my holiday gift from Jimmy Carter. He brought me Nixon. He knew I would love it. This is the dialogue in the movie,
The script of the movie, basically, with the
Oh,
annotations to show that he didn't make anything up per se. Although he did make up some things, but he tries to go factually using a number of public records and several books to justify what he did.
And you don't have to read it in voice. You can just read it to yourself.
No, I'm going to read it
don't
in
read
voice.
the parts as if you're auditioning for the
I'm
part
going
that
to read
Anthony
it. Actually, Jimmy does a good Nixon, but we'll let that go for later.
But that's later.
Did you like the movie?
It's 3 hours long. It's an interesting movie. The performances are wonderful. Just to watch the acting. Anthony Hopkins convinces you very quickly that he is Nixon. James Woods is H.R. Haldeman. He's wonderful. The stars, it's just neat to watch. And Oliver Stone, I don't care what you think about him, he's a brilliant movie maker. I thought Natural Born Killers was a bunch of junk, but I appreciated the fact of how he made the movie. He is very effective. It's good that he didn't work in the times of Hitler or someone else. He would have been Hitler's propaganda minister.
Now, will this be as controversial, or has it already surpassed JFK?
No, nothing will be as controversial as JFK, but once the people get into this, I think it's being clouded because it's Christmas. But there are a number of things he alludes to in here, that Nixon possibly was behind, or at least knew somebody that had something to do with the JFK assassination. Everything always goes back to that. And then Nixon was involved with the Bay of Pigs and just all kinds of things.
Now, is this a good time to bring out a movie of this nature, Jimmy? I mean, don't people want feel-good movies at the holiday time?
They do, and I don't think people are rushing out to see Nixon. But it's a
Teddy.
movie that'll be out for a while. And it is a movie of substance. I mean, it's a movie about something. I like movies that are about something, even if you don't necessarily like the politics of it.
Let me spend some time taking the movie apart, dissecting the movie a little bit with you, because I'm really
because it makes him happy, and this
looking
is
forward to doing it.
Christmas present.
Anthony Hopkins, in your judgment, he doesn't look like Nixon, he doesn't sound like Nixon, he's not American, but yet you say he got into Nixon.
He
right?
is such a good actor, he's Nixon, and he should get an Oscar nomination. I imagine he will.
Who is the actress that plays Pat Nixon?
Joan Allen. You may have seen her, but just bit parts. She should get a Best Actress nomination for that. The Pat Nixon role maybe is the most interesting. We know very little about Pat Nixon.
That's
she
right.
was, the quietest first lady we probably had in years, and it portrays her as kind of a martyr, you know, the behind-the-scenes lady, the power, just the whole fascination of backstage at the White House, which is what this is just amazing.
And we never really knew about their marriage. Did they had what we call a good marriage? Were they?
I think she was she was a lot of strength for him. There's so many strange things. And there's flashbacks to his mother. It tries to explain why Nixon did some of the things he did, why he was the way he was, the fact that he had a brother, maybe two brothers, in fact, that died at very young age, that his father was gone, that his mother was the real source and the strength of his life, and she flashes back in the movie. Dickie, don't lie. Dickie, don't, I mean, it's really crazy. And the Hoover thing, Oliver Stone's hung up on Hoover, and our next movie we'll see in a couple of movies from now will probably be the movie Hoover, because he is working on that. And they're convinced that Hoover was gay, and he has him swishing around in this movie a little bit, and it's just strange. I mean, the whole thing is very odd, but it's interesting.
No controversy.
I watched a Bob Costas interview with Oliver Stone the other night, and Oliver Stone indicated that he asked Tom Hanks to play the part of Nixon first. And there was a little something in the way he said it. It wasn't, this is my perception, it wasn't as if he says, I'm sorry he didn't accept it, but it was almost as if he says, I think Tom Hanks would have been a good...
Guess who else?
Who?
Robin Williams.
Really?
Wow.
And Robin could have probably done it, but I don't think people would have bought the fact that Robin Williams is Nixon, but I think he would have done a good job. Robin Williams is basically a dramatic actor. He's very funny, but he is a great dramatic actor. And in fact, he's in a new
How do you
Shakespeare
say
movie.
it? How do you say the new movie that Robin Williams is in? No?
Jumanji.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's an interesting film too. But this movie is worth seeing if you came up in the 60s and you want to watch a movie about something, you appreciate fine movie making and fine acting. It certainly is a movie that is the most interesting movie out this Christmas, that's for sure.
So how does it work in Hollywood, basically, Jimmy? Is it the storyline that sells the movie company, the movie producer?
It's packaging. It's the star many times. Like this movie was sold, the fact that it was Oliver Stone. They'll buy it because they know he's going to come up with something. His track record is good. They'll have some approval about the casting, but they'll give him some rope. Warner Brothers did not want to do this movie, so it went over to Disney.
And that's amazing,
and
too.
that's pretty amazing because he's made his home at Warner Brothers. They just didn't want to touch the controversy, I think.
I read where he leased the White House set from an American president.
It's the same White House. They
Same
used
White
it,
House, so he wouldn't have to pay.
Put a little different decorating because American President is a contemporary film, and this takes place in the 60s, so change the rug, change the drapes, change some of the color.
You know, there must be something in someone's life that when they get hung up, I mean, all of us that were around when John F. Kennedy was assassinated were affected by it. But Oliver Stone, obviously, I mean, this had such an impact because everything he does goes back to who was behind the conspiracy.
You know, this guy, I've sat with him 4 or 5 different occasions, and most recently for this movie. He's an interesting man just to talk to. He's not bouncing off the wall. He's very intelligent. I just think in some cases he gets a little misguided, but it's his philosophy, it's his viewpoint, and there are very few people in Hollywood now that take the chances that he does with films and the subject matter, and you know, he's a thorn in a lot of people's side.
Okay, Carlin, I've talked enough about this.
Yes, you have.
You
Holiday
can go
movies.
on to another movie.
Folks watching today want to know what's out there, what's good. You're going to have a little time on your hands. Hard to imagine you'd even want to go to a movie, but it's fast becoming the American trend to do that sort of thing on Christmas and other days. Give us a rundown of what's new.
Best movie, easily, right now, this weekend, Grumpier Old Men.
Oh, really?
Really?
Now, a lot of you ladies out there, I know you're living with grumpy old men. The last thing you want to do is pay $7 to go see some more. But if these guys are funny. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, and Burgess Meredith steals the movie.
Does he?
Oh, every
How
time he
old is
comes
he?
on. He's like 1,000 years old or something. And in fact, they told me every time they said cut, they had to go over there and basically go sit him down.
Oh, man.
But he looks 1,000 years old in the movie, but it's very, very funny. And Sophia Loren and Anne Margaret play the love interest. I got to see Sophia Loren. She's 61 years old, and she looked better than any 30-year-old I've ever seen. And she's so sweet. And I figured out why she's, you know, what got her attention. She has a very beautiful body, but she has the biggest eyes I've ever seen. And that's probably what gets you, you know, on the frame. If you notice a lot of movie stars in person, they have big heads.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have big heads and some big features because when you know.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But that's why Vanna White got her job. Merv Griffin said because her head was bigger than everybody
Tom
else.
Selleck has the biggest head of any man I've ever met.
Does he?
Big bulb-headed guy. That Anna Nicole Smith, you know which one she is? The one in Playboy, the one that married the old man that died?
Yeah.
She's got the biggest head on a woman I've ever seen. And she has a lot of other things. But I mean, this woman's head is like a
Surprised you got
basketball.
up that far, Jimmy.
I was so amazed at her. And she's also the least intelligent person I've ever.
Doesn't Jack Nicholson have a big head, too?
I didn't notice.
Small head.
Just
I didn't notice. He's not a very. Some of these people are actually very short. You know, he's not a very big man.
Robert Redford short.
I cannot believe the conversation has digressed to this.
Big-headed people?
Big head.
Big-headed people.
Big old head.
Except from Alabama, we know them big-headed people.
We know a big head when we see one.
All right.
Okay, our number is 737-4444. If you have a question or an observation or a review or
Or you just want to talk
critique,
about somebody's
or
big
you
head?
just want to talk about somebody's big head.
Or Bigfoot.
This is a holiday edition of Online. Give us a call. Jimmy Carter is our guest. We'll be back right after this.
Today, it's not easy to tell the forest from the trees with so many companies promising the future. One thing is certain, your Middle Tennessee Cable Company will continue to be your best entertainment value and will be the first place to look for new entertainment options. The Call of the Wild is loud and clear on the Discovery Channel. Weeknights, don't miss Wild Discovery for captivating looks into the animal world and beyond. Cable television, your friend for the future, today.
The best thing about this time of year is all the good stuff that comes with it. And the best thing about Food Max is how much less you pay for it. Like Hamilton low-salt whole hams, just 99 cents a pound. Fresh California broccoli, 79 cents a bunch. And fresh grade A butterball basted turkeys, only 98 cents a pound. It's all at Food Max, where higher standards and much lower prices are just in time for the holidays. Prices good through Christmas Eve. See store for limits.
Hello everybody, Jimmy Hicks here, and we're doing it again. McPherson's Men's Shop is giving away blazers and all-weather coats just in time for Christmas. Purchase any suit at regular price and choose either a Silver Cloud all-weather coat or a great-looking Colony Club blazer absolutely free. That's right, I said free. So with free alterations and free gift wrap, McPherson's is the only place you need for the special men on your shopping list. So come by and pick up your free blazer or free all-weather coat today, only at McPherson's.
Sabrina, I didn't recognize you. It's the haircut, to say the least.
This holiday season, the critics are toasting Sabrina. It's the real thing.
So you guys work Sundays now, huh? It's Wednesday, David.
Two very enthusiastic thumbs up.
I never thought of you as a dancer.
Call me Bojangles.
You'll come out of the theater feeling like $1 million.
What was he like as a child?
Shorter.
Sabrina, rated PG. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
Jimmy Carter's here. He reports on media for a lot of folks and radio, television, and for us today.
Let's go to the phone, 737-4444. You're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Don't you think Ed Murphy got a big head?
That Eddie Murphy has a big head?
Yeah.
Actually, Eddie Murphy does not have a big head. He is a relatively small guy, nice guy. I like him. Eddie's a little paranoid, though. That's Eddie's biggest problem. He's become Elvis Presley. He got so powerful, and he didn't trust a lot of people. He did like Elvis. He surrounded himself with basically a New Jersey mafia, his relatives and that kind of thing, and they isolated him with a bunch of yes men. And that's why you haven't seen a lot of Eddie. But he may be back in '96. I'm hearing good things about a movie called The Nutty Professor. And he gains a lot of weight. The old Jerry Lewis movie, but with a different twist. And they use a lot of makeup to make him very fat. And Eddie's a wonderful guy and a wonderful actor, and I hope he comes back this year. He's a
Well,
good
and
talent.
keep in mind, we're talking physical traits here on the big head. I mean, he may have a big ego, but we're talking
Physical
physically.
head, yeah.
I mean, just the...
I don't remember his head being large, and his ego has kind of been shot down a little bit because he's had a bunch of flop movies, so
Yeah,
he has a deflated head.
737-4444.
Mr. Deflated. Let's go back to the phone. Line 3, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering, what does he think about the movie Waiting to Exhale in relation to the book?
All right, it's a little different from the book, and what it is, I think it's a ladies' day out movie is what I would call this. A lot of male bashing goes on in this. Now, we'll laugh for about the first 30 or 45 minutes of this thing, and then after that, it's abuse. It's male abuse. So ladies, don't take your men, go out together and do this because you're going to either get in a fight or be depressed when it's over with. So it's a ladies' day out movie.
Spoken by a male, we might add.
Who's in that movie?
Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Gregory Hines. A lot of really good acting. Forrest Whitaker, I believe, is the guy who, is that Forrest Whitaker? Yeah, he directed this movie. Interesting film. Whitney is very good in this, actually.
She made the transition pretty well.
She did a better job in this than she did in Bodyguard. So, and then she's another lady that has some problems.
But there are a lot of women bonding movies out there right now.
American Quilt, which should be on home video in a couple of months, was a nice movie that no one went to see, but it was good. Waiting to Exhale is certainly and this one needs to do well. because it's the first time a number of black stars have gotten together, and Hollywood is looking to this to see if this movie will be supported. And so if you want to see more Whitney Houston and Angela Bassett movies together, you need to go out and see this movie, basically.
Okay, cast your vote by going to the movies. Line 4, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Hello, I'd like to ask Jimmy, I don't remember what he said about Get Shorty. What did you feel about that?
I liked it. I think if you're a real John Travolta fan, you're just going to love it. I thought the movie was a little hip for the room myself, but it was one of those nights I'd flown from, all day, and I was tired when I saw it, and I'd like to give it another chance. I thought it was a pretty neat movie, though, but I thought it was a little too hip.
I want to see it. Did you like it? Is the caller still there?
Yeah.
Did
you like it?
Did you like it, ma'am?
I haven't seen it. That's why I want to know.
Oh,
that's good.
okay.
See, we trust our reviewers.
I'm kind of wishy-washy on that one. I know some people who saw it and really liked it. I saw some people who really just didn't get it. So when it comes out on home video, it's pretty much gone from the theater now. Pay $2 and you won't be mad.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't need to be seen on a big screen. It's not that kind of movie.
It's fascinating about a movie ticket, and now they're more expensive than ever, but it's one of those things that you have to trust your reviewer on it.
And that, a lot of critics review for other critics. I could care less what they think. A lot of critics are trying to see how eloquent they can be, and they only like the hip movies, like the Golden Globes that just came out. These are critics in Los Angeles, international press. They like Sense and Sensibility and Leaving Las Vegas. Movies that try to have these high expectations. I'm reviewing movies for people who have got to pay $7, maybe even $50 if they take somebody with them, take a kid, get a babysitter, go to dinner. It's a $50, $75 purchase for somebody, and not something that people do readily. So I try to do it. Is it going to be worth your big bucks to go out and see? And there aren't that many movies I would say full price on. Grumpier Old Men, though, would certainly be.
Go see it right when it comes out. Line 5, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes. Don't you think, Jimmy, that politicians and people in the public eye in general have big heads? I mean, physically big heads. That's one question. And the other question is, at the end of Grumpy Old Men, I hurt myself laughing at the outtakes. Now, are there outtakes in Grumpy Old Men? And
yes,
I'll wait to hear the answer.
They are funnier outtakes in Grumpy Old Men. Let me mention this since I'm giving that movie such a big plug. I would not recommend you taking children below the age of 7 or 8. These guys are very salty old men. And some of the things they say to each other are, I don't know, I think we're desensitized to 4-letter words, but there were enough in this movie that children don't. I would be uncomfortable with a little kid hearing all this, because it's the kind of stuff you will hear again, with them. Those little magpies will repeat it to you.
Mathau and Lemon are a great team, aren't they?
I mean, they meet you, putz, moron. I mean, that's how they greet each other. They're like two wonderful dancers.
Yeah.
They really do love each other. I mean, they love each other off camera. And they're wonderful guys. And when they're out there sparring on camera together, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Now, about the big-headed politicians, we have really struck a chord.
I'm sorry, I haven't measured.
Nixon
Governor McWhorter had a pretty big head. I love you, Gov. But,
he had a big head.
He
has a big head. He still has the same head he had.
Governor Sundquist, I'm sorry, I haven't met you.
He tried to trade it in, but it didn't work.
No, he's got the same one on.
I haven't traded it. I haven't tried Governor Sundquist.
Regular head.
Guys, back to the phone. Line 6, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Hi. I would like to know if, is it true that Whitney Houston's husband is out with a new movie?
Bobby Brown?
Uh-huh.
No, he's been too busy drying out in the last, he's been in the Betty Ford Center, and he's had a number of personal problems. He's been in jail, he's been in court. He's been doing everything but a movie, but she has the movie. It's called Waiting to Exhale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one. And he went to the premiere the other night, though.
So he's out.
Yeah, he scares me. He's the kind of guy, just pop you for looking at him wrong. He's a little bit of a wild guy.
I like that.
But she's a sweetheart. And she comes to Nashville a lot. People never see her. The Wine, she's good friends with them. She's recorded here a few times, so you never can tell who's going to be running through that Nashville airport.
Yeah, we're becoming a real hot spot for this stuff, aren't we? Back to the phone, line 1, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know if either one of you saw the Nixon and Kissinger on one of the cable outlets.
Yeah, I did. I did too.
You can bet
I thought Bo Bridges was good. I thought it was all right. I mean, I wasn't jumping up and down about it, were you?
It took me a long time to get into it, a few minutes, like the first segment, to get into it. The noses bothered me.
The makeup, like it was like Michael Jackson's makeup. I was waiting for it to melt right there on camera. But Bo Bridges, all the Bridges are great actors. I just wasn't crazy about that. And TNT is running that movie over and over again. Just ran again this week, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Boy, the Bridges boys, they are.
They are good.
They're
very underrated, very underrated.
And the Baker Boys, I thought it was one of their best movies. Line 2, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Toy Story and see what you thought about it. I thought it was one of the best animated films I've seen in a long time.
It deserves a special Oscar. They don't paying attention to animated movies out in Los Angeles, but that movie is such a groundbreaking film that it deserves some kind of special technical achievement Oscar. Brilliant film. Hanks and all the voices, Don Rickles and all those people are great in there. It certainly is one of the best movies of the year and one of the best movies of the 90s so far. It takes you about 10 minutes to get into this movie because it's so weird looking. Because it's so, you know, kind of get in the groove of it. Once you do, you're just saying, wow. I mean, it's a wow movie.
Boy, it's popular. Line 3, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Good morning. My name is Carol, and my dad is 82, and we went to see Nixon yesterday. And it was tremendous. Anthony Hopkins is my favorite actor, and I tell you, what Jimmy says is absolutely right. It's going to be one of the best movies you can see this year.
It's an amazing movie. It really is. I mean, it's it's about something, so you've got a story there, and some of the flashbacks, and just everybody in this movie, even the very smallest parts, are big actors. Bob Hoskins plays J. Edgar Hoover, and he's only in there for a second.
Haldeman and Ehrlichman, pretty good in it. They
yeah, I mean,
portrayed
James
well.
Woods is one of our best actors, too. He could get a nomination for this, too. Powers Booth plays General Alexander Haig, and I asked Powers if if was Haig deep throat, and he says no.
Yeah.
And,
well, what else is he going to say?
Yeah, but what's he going to say? Exactly.
We'll find out one day, maybe.
That's right. Our number is 737-4444. We're talking about movies over the holidays. You're probably going to check out a few and maybe want to give us a call and check out what's going on. Jimmy Carter is our guest. We'll be back right after this.
Purity ice cream. Don't run out.
The wait is over. Garth Brooks, the biggest selling artist of the decade, brings you Fresh Horses. Just released and over 1 million sold. Includes the songs She's Every Woman, The Fever, The Change, and The Beaches of Cheyenne. Fresh Horses, the most eagerly anticipated album of the year, available everywhere. Oh, and don't forget, the hits, while supplies last.
It's gonna run you over if you don't get going. That's right.
Quality is what you can expect from Bush Jewelers, with a selection of only the finest and a price that is sure to please.
Look at these beautiful 1/4 carat total weight diamond earrings for $213, a 1/2 carat total weight for $521, or this 3/4 carat total weight for $915, or a 1 carat total weight for $1,605.
When the occasion calls for something special, do as I do. Go to Bush Jewelers in Hendersonville and tell them Ralph sent you.
17.9%, 15.5, 18.2. It really does add up, doesn't it? Hi, I'm Jim Palmer. If you're a homeowner carrying big credit card balances from month to month, the Money Store has a better solution. With a home equity loan from the Money Store, you can pay off all of your credit card balances as well as your auto and your other loans. And the interest is usually tax deductible. So don't let those high rate bills keep adding up. Pay them off with a home equity loan from the Money Store. Call 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Okay, we are back now with Jimmy Carter on movies.
Back to the phone, line 4. You're online with Teddy and Garland.
Yeah, I don't know what all this big head stuff is, but Jim sure got a bald head.
Thank you, I do. And I'm proud of it.
I don't know if he had a question or not. But...
Yes, special holiday greetings for Jimmy Carter.
Thank you.
Oh, you just take
it's the power thing. Bartley's doing it, Patrick Stewart's doing it. It's the thing to do that.
It is.
So, gentlemen, shave your head if you haven't already.
Teddy's next. Line 5.
Teddy
You're
has too much hair.
Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. 2 questions. How did you feel about White Man's Burden? And also, how did you feel about the roles being reversed in White Man's Burden?
That's a pretty interesting movie, isn't it? Not a lot of people saw that, unfortunately. John Travolta did that movie for like $100,000 or something, and now he's getting paid $20 million. He did it because he liked the idea. If you don't know what the movie is about, and I'm not sure if it's in Nashville anymore. Basically, the blacks were in charge of the country like the whites supposedly are. And Harry Belafonte plays the lead role, and John Travolta plays the white guy. It's an interesting film.
Interesting premise, almost like the book.
That's why John took it.
If the South had won the war, or one of those types of things.
You'll see it on home video. It'll be one of those things that'll come
That's
out.
interesting. I didn't know much about it. I would like to see it now. I'm glad you brought that up. John Travolta is hot.
He's back. Very hot.
He is back. It makes you wonder if Dianetics works.
I don't know, but he's very hot right now. He's got Broken Arrow coming out after the first of the year. He's got a lot of movies next year already done.
Back to the phone. Line 1, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Good morning. I'd like to ask Jimmy Carter how he feels about Now and Then.
Now and Then. That's a sweet movie, too. It didn't do very well. You know, it's kind of got these 4 older ladies, and they have the 4 younger girls. That's a cute one. It'll do real well in home video. I think it's probably gone now.
Is that another girl movie?
Another girl movie, yeah, absolutely. I forgot about that one when we mentioned American Quilt.
Back to the phone. Line 2, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, I would just like to make a comment about the Bobby Brown being in a movie. I'd heard somewhere, and I can't remember the name of the title, that he is going to be in a movie with Martin Lawrence.
Okay, good.
Oh,
okay.
Well, boy, I wish
that
we knew
takes
the
care of
title.
that.
They're following that Bobby Brown story. You know, that's why those People magazine things sell so much, because people are very interested in Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston.
That's right.
It's amazing.
Quick comment on Sabrina.
Sabrina's a sweet movie. It's not a great movie. It's kind of the one you'll see on the airplane a lot, but not a lot of people are going. Not a lot of romantic movies out there right now, if you really go down the list. It's one of the few romantic things. Greg Kinnear is really good. He steals the movie. Harrison Ford is all right. It's not one of those, it's okay, you know. Father of the Bride is a sweet movie. Actually, Sarah, you're watching, so she didn't know this, my daughter, littlest one. I teared up a little bit in Father of the Bride, too.
Aww.
It's that kind of sweet thing. I
Boy,
took my little
that's-
girl with me, and one of my little girls.
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin is wonderful. You know, both the women, it's great.
Jimmy, he selects good parts for himself.
He needed a good movie, too. He's had some, Steve's had his funny bone removed.
Yeah.
He's had a little trouble with being funny lately, but he does in this movie.
I want to talk about that more. We've got a break coming up here. Actually, this is it for the television portion. We continue on 1240 WKDA at 737-4444. We'll continue with your calls and your questions. And boy, it's a holiday weekend.
Sure is,
Wish
holiday
it were a nice
weekend.
holiday.
So stay on the line if you've gotten through. To our TV audience, Merry Christmas to you, and to our radio audience, we have 30 minutes more. Stay there.
There's a mysterious beauty in every woman, a unique look. The French shop specializes in bringing out these classic, elegant features all women have to offer. Greet the holiday season in a festive wool suit accented with fur, or find sophisticated pantsuits for casual or formal occasions. Taffeta silk and velvet make a wonderful blend for evenings when something special is called for. Come and explore a Nashville secret, the French shop, on West End, Highway 100, Hillsborough Circle, and in Murfreesboro on South Church Street.
Well, I guess everything's decorated.
There is one more thing we could decorate.
We're not decorating the dog again.
Well, then I guess we'll just have to decorate you.
Friedman's Jewelers has gifts that last a lifetime, like your choice of any of these rings, diamond heart pendant, or pulsar watch for only $99. And right now, with the purchase of a diamond tennis bracelet for $199 or more, receive the Friedman's phone card, good for 30 minutes of free long distance. For the holidays and always. Friedman's Jewelers.
The folks at Beeman Automotive are always finding new ways to better serve their customers. One example is the Beeman Caravan. When you buy from Beeman, the Caravan is always just a phone call away. If you ever have any trouble of any kind, night or day, the Caravan will come to your rescue. The Caravan is just one reason Beeman has been named the best place in Nashville to buy a car, and the best place in Nashville to get your car serviced. Beeman, Pontiac Toyota GMC truck, 1525 Broadway.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Cynthia Williams with News to the Minute. Searchers in the American Airlines crash in Colombia have found the cockpit flight data recorder. The recorder is being turned over to U.S. aviation officials. So far, officials say there's no evidence of an explosion on the plane that happened before it went down. One of the issues in question, though, is why the flight was 13 miles off course when it crashed into the mountain. And from Los Angeles, O.J. Simpson has emerged from behind the walls of his estate, again proclaiming his innocence in a video he intends to sell. In the video, Simpson says a shovel shown at his murder trial was nothing more than a pooper scooper. Simpson said the shovel was in his Bronco so he could clean up dog droppings at his ex-wife's home. And checking the forecast right now, expect today cloudy skies with a few flurries. A high of 32 degrees. Winds will be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy with more flurries, a low of 21 degrees. Winds out of the northwest at 5. And tomorrow, cloudy with flurries, a high of 31 degrees. Winds out of the northwest at 10 miles per hour and a low of 20 degrees. That's News to the Minute. More news later on The Scene at 5. Thanks for watching.
To our 1240 WKDA radio audience, welcome to Online with Teddy and Carlin. This is the second half of our program. This morning we're talking about movies, holiday entertainment, and we might drift a little bit into television as well. Jimmy Carter, who covers media for media, and He's working for us today, and we're going to be taking your telephone calls at 737-4444.
Lots of movie questions. Let's do it, okay?
Sure.
Back to the phone, line 4. You're online with Teddy and Carlin.
I was wondering about the Mortal Kombat movie.
The what?
The Mortal Kombat movie?
The Motor Combat movie?
Oh, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, okay.
It's on home video now. I didn't think a whole lot of it. Have you seen it?
No.
Well, it might be worth $1 to rent it. That's about it. It's not a very good movie, really.
All right. Back to the phone, line 5.
Little Boys kind of powered that box office up because the video game was so... did so
Okay. Yes, line 5, you're on the air.
Hi. I was wondering if Jimmy had had a chance to see Jerry Lewis in his Broadway production of Damn Yankees, and if so, what he thought about it. Since
well,
he's going to Nashville.
I have not, but my littlest movie reviewer in the house and now theater critic Sarah Carter, who is age 9, saw him on Broadway, and she loved it.
She did.
So
Would she just fly up for the weekend?
No, she was up there with her, she was up there with her grandmother, and they went to see it this summer. And she didn't know who Jerry Lewis was, and she does now. And she was very impressed with him. She made a big point.
Will she want to see him again when he comes to Nashville?
I think she probably will. So
He's
yeah,
here?
that's a very good play. I understand.
Well, good.
Thank you. Is it different reviewing plays from movies?
I wouldn't want to do it.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I just go whether I say I like it or not, you know. And I try to do the everyman style. Theater is very uppity-dupty, you know. They're very, very hip, those theater critics. And the ones in New York, they have a lot of power. They're the most powerful critics. Because if they say something stinks, the theater crowd pretty much agrees with them, and they'll shut down a multi-million-dollar production. It's amazing. Too powerful.
Too powerful is right.
That's a shame. 737-4444 is our number this hour. We're talking movies and holiday entertainment. Line 6, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Hi, that's, excuse me, that wasn't what I was talking about. I'd like to see you two. You make a good team, do a talk show locally with live audience.
Oh, there's a good idea for you.
It would be great for Nashville. I think we need some. Channel 4 seems to be so serious about everything. I think we need more laughter here, and I think we need a funny talk show with you two.
Well, thank you. We'll pass that along.
Some people think this is a funny talk show.
You could be a good team on live, you know, like The Price is Right, except maybe the speech is right or the talk.
I'll do that.
The thought of Teddy giving away something has kind of stumped us, but no, that's a good idea. Have a great holiday.
Hey,
thank you. Bye-bye.
I get to turn the letters, right?
That's right. You
this
turn
time
the
around.
letters, and I'll, spin the wheel. But yeah, that live
Everybody
audiences.
is too serious.
Yeah, we need to lighten up. That's why we're talking movies.
That's kind of why I got out of news, actually.
Yeah?
I needed a break, you know, from all that. And this has been a nice break. I don't know that I want to do this forever, but it's been a pretty good run for 10 years.
Oh,
Running
yeah.
around, flying around, talking to movie stars. There are worse jobs
Oh, yeah.
to have.
Absolutely. Back to the phone, line 1. You're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, I want to know about the movie Heat.
Great movie. Glad have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't
you
seen
need
it.
to
I want to know if it's any good, if it's worth my money.
Yes, definitely. It's 3 hours long. You get your money back if you don't like it, I think. It's Al Pacino and Robert De Niro are certainly two of our best actors from this country. First time they've ever been in a movie together. They're not in the movie enough together. There's a shootout scene in this film with Val Kilmer and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and all of them in the city of Los Angeles after a busted bank robbery. And it's one of the most exciting scenes ever filmed in motion pictures. Ashley Judd is in that movie. She plays the wife of Val Kilmer. Great acting, great actors. One of my favorite movies of the year. A little bit long, but the movies have been doing that lately. It's like 3 hours long, but you'll get your money's worth on that one. Great Cops and Robbers movie.
Thanks. Hope that helps. We don't want to make that $7 investment or even more, as you pointed out, unless somebody tells us we should.
And then there's $7 for the popcorn.
Yeah,
that's not even counting the popcorn. Ashley Judd, though, you mentioned her. She's off Sisters now.
She's going to be a movie star, and a pretty big one. She's going to do well. She's in the movie Heat right now. She's in the John Grisham movie, A Time to Kill, with Sandra Bullock, coming up this year. She's in a bunch of movies. She's going to play Marilyn Monroe in the HBO movie Marilyn. She plays the young Marilyn, I think. She's hot as a pistol.
Wow, she is. Now, she had a movie that did real well at
She's been in some art house kind of movies. Smoke, she was in, I believe, and some other things. People haven't really seen her yet. But one of these times, I mean, she's been, getting a lot of good buzz. All the good directors are working with her, so she's going to be one of the big stories of '96.
Ashley Judd, of course, being the third
Littlest Judd, the one that doesn't
Winona
sing.
and Naomi fame. Line 2, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes, I've heard for several years that they're going to make a remake of Gone with the Wind. Do you know anything about that?
Well, they did that. Remember with Timothy Dalton did a kind of the sequel to Gone with the Wind. But no, I don't think they would. They couldn't afford to do it, and I don't think anybody would be brave enough to do it.
Okay.
Ted Turner owns that right, I believe, and in the estate of the lady who wrote the book. And I wouldn't hold my breath for that one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. It would be tough to live
The sequel
up.
didn't do that well.
Yeah.
You remember, there was a lot of Knights and Timothy Dalton and some other people in it. It just didn't do much.
Have we mentioned an American president here
No.
or since you've been on the show?
No. One of my favorite movies. It has not done too well. I think people thought it was too political. It isn't. It's really a romantic, it's a love story. And it's got political overtones in it, but they sold it wrong. They screwed up the marketing on that.
That's the first thing Annette Bening's done in a while, isn't it?
Wonderful movie, and she deserves maybe an Oscar nomination for that. It's a great movie.
You know, you're right about that, because I don't know what it's about, really, and I, try to stay
It's about a single president.
It's about a single parent president. His wife died. He's now in office. He's got a little girl. He wants to go out on a date. You know, he needs somebody to go with him, and you can't get a date hardly when you're president, because what are you going to do? Although Kennedy didn't seem to have a problem with that. When you're single, and today it's hard to do that with the media scrutiny. So he asked out a lobbyist and all the problems it takes from everything, just trying to send roses to somebody yourself.
But it's not supposed to be any president, right?
No, but some people see Bill Clinton in it. See who you want.
And there are flowers. Sorry.
Yeah. See who you want in it. But it's, I'm not a major Clinton fan, and I love the movie, so.
Good.
Yeah. Back to the phone.
It's one on my list to see.
Line 3, you're going to have a lot of time next week to see movies. Line 3, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Yes, this is Charles Lamb. I'm in Nashville.
Hi,
and
Charles.
I've got a question for Mr. Carter.
Okay.
I've written 3 movies here. It's taken me 4 years to write them, and I was wondering what kind of process would I do in trying to get somebody to read it and possibly be interested in directing.
Are the movies about anything involving Nashville, or they're just movies?
They're movies in general. One is an animation movie, and one is basically a kid's movie with the grandfather and a grandson.
All right, what you need to do is you need to get a lawyer who can get in contact with an agent. No one wants to talk about writing a book, writing a song, doing anything unless you're going through a legitimate party, because people are so worried about things being stolen.
Right.
People sue all the time about people sending, if you send a script, an unsolicited script to anybody in Hollywood, they're not even going to open it because they're so scared. They'll look at it, make a movie, and it'll be like your movie, because how many ideas are there in the world?
Right.
And then they'll get sued, and it'll be a big mess. So you've got to get a literary agent to write a book. You need an agent or a lawyer to do just about anything now. As we're in that type of world. So I would, there are a number of them. It's hard to do anything from a first time, but you need to get out there, and that's the route you need to go. You need to find an agent. And there are people from the big agencies here, but it's kind of a who you know kind of thing. Try to get out and meet some people, and then you do it. Because that animated movie, DreamWorks, the Spielberg company, would not be a bad place. They're looking for those type of projects. And writers, there's never enough writers. So it can be done, but you just got to go about it and get into the system so they can kind of, wash you up and clean you and make sure you're not, you didn't steal the material.
Right. Are you interested in looking at it?
I don't really do that. I never have, and I don't really want to start. Unfortunately, I'm just not that type of producer. But there are people around. There are meetings of the Nashville Video and Film Association. Get out there in the community. There's a friend of mine, Bill Pryor, who runs around. He writes stuff. There are people, but you kind of need to get into this little community, like you need if you're a songwriter. Hang around the Bluebird. I mean, you kind of got to get into the click of things, and that'll get you into the system.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. That's helpful information, Jimmy. Now, if this person or any person is looking for an agent,
It's tough.
should he or she expect to pay this agent out of the shoot, or would the agent get a percentage of it if it's sold?
Well, they'll get a percentage of it. I'm uncomfortable with anybody paying anything. Pay somebody to read a book or read a manuscript. I mean, if your stuff is good, just don't sign anything. That's the first thing you don't want to do. It's like writing a song here. If you've got a great song, it's kind of hard to get it to the attention of somebody, but you got to get it in the system first, and then you can.
Do you have to be part of the Hollywood clique, though, Jimmy? I mean, isn't it easier if you're out there and just making
If you're a writer, it isn't. They need writers so bad.
Really?
Yeah, they do. I mean, people who, if they've got something.
For years, I've been hearing Nashville is going to be another movie capital. That's been going on as long as... It's not.
It's a non-union town. Hollywood's a very union place. They come here to avoid the unions, but that gets them in a lot of trouble. We had trouble with the Teamsters here on one of these shoots that went on. I can't remember which one it was right off the bat.
Yeah. I think it was a TV movie.
It was Ann Margaret was in the movie.
Yeah.
And I watched the picketers. I mean, all that people try to come here, they think we're stupid. And they try to come here and take advantage of us. The film commission, other film commissions have done better. I will say that. The Alabama Film Commission got Tom and Huck. They did it up here at Russell Cave. This Glass Heart movie, Walter Matthau done in Montgomery, Alabama's Film Commission has kind of come back a little bit lately. Mississippi couldn't get any more business. I mean, they've done the Grisham movie, but that because Grisham is there. In the defense here, the way we're going to have a movie business here is for people who are writers to write. That's why I was asking him, did you write something about this place? So they'll have to make it here. So the writing is so unique that they have to do it here.
Yeah.
That's how you get the movie business here. It's writer-driven, not project-driven.
So you don't think we're getting our fair share of movie production coming out of
No,
this town?
because the people are not in contact with the people. You know, we have a film commission, but these people wouldn't know most of these directors who can't hit them in the head. I mean, it's all political. It's a lot of politics being played
But that's
and
such
not
an
true
important
context.
place. That's such an important role. You'd think the politics would be to get somebody in the loop.
Politics is politics. Film commissions have been political, particularly in this state. And it's all about getting the right person. You know, we get some stuff here every once in a while, but it's got to be something the governor's really into, like the North Carolina governor just went out to California. It has to be made from that. You have to almost turn whatever it is you're going to do over to them. You have to give away a lot of stuff. And we're doing that with the NFL right now, not Hollywood.
737, but how do you really feel?
Yeah.
737-4444 is our number. Let's go back to the phone. On line 1, you're online with Teddy and Carlin. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're on the air with Jimmy Carter.
Yes, ma'am. What about that movie, Blue Chips?
Oh, the basketball movie. That's a good, it's out there for rental. Nick Nolte. It's not a bad movie. I liked it. It's certainly worth $2. If you like basketball, you got to go. Shaquille O'Neal's in that movie. Made his motion picture
How'd he
debut.
do?
Good. He was all right. Played a basketball player. He can do that.
Yeah, it's worth the rent, he says. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Jimmy, does it ever get boring? I mean, does it ever get that you go, oh, gosh, I've got to go see another movie?
I try not to see too many movies. If you want to know the truth, I try to see 1, maybe 2 a week. That's enough. I think you become a weirdo if you're in there watching, you know.
Excuse me, do you think you're not?
Well, I think I probably am, but not as bad as some. I mean, some people sit in movies for, you know, see 4, 5, 6 movies a week. I don't want to see that many movies a week.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm under any obligation to see that many movies a week. And some people, like the Siskel and Eberts, they see all these things, these foreign movies and all that stuff. No, thank you.
How are all the movies that we eventually see in the theater, they've been tested in Hollywood, haven't they, before audiences?
In Orange County, Sacramento, they go out and into what they call the normal territories and test them out and see what they think. And they frequently change a lot of things. They change the ending. They'll change a lot of scenes that people didn't like. They'll adjust them.
Yeah. I was reading an interesting story of making of Casablanca. They've been doing the testing for years, obviously, going back to the 40s, maybe earlier. And they tested the endings on the whether Ingrid Bergman should fly away from Humphrey Bogart or whether they should go off together.
They didn't like that ending in Hollywood, yeah.
They didn't like it, and they changed it.
I have a real problem with research. Research people lie. They tell you what they want you to hear. And you know, if we'd ever researched things, we'd have never had an Archie Bunker. Can you imagine trying to sell that idea, you know, to the politically correct?
And it bombed when it first came out, didn't it?
but a lot of the great ideas eventually make it because they're original, they're neat. You know, I don't think Nixon was something they were jumping up to do in Hollywood.
People who make it on television don't necessarily translate, do they, to the movies?
They're trying to. George Clooney's going to do a movie next year. We'll see. Tom Selleck didn't transfer. I mean, he was in 3 Men and a Baby and a few things like that.
Well, his head was so big.
Maybe it's because of his big head. I don't know. I don't want to pick on Tom Selleck today. Not really. Some people do. Clint Eastwood certainly did.
Yeah.
You know, you can give some big examples. Bill Murray did. Some of the Saturday Night Live people did.
Is it easier to go, boy, what about Bob? That is just the funniest movie. Is it easier, would you say, to go from being a television actor to movie acting, or would it be simpler the other way around, starting out movies, going to television?
Well, Leah Thompson has done that with Caroline in the City. You know, she was a movie actress. She did Red Dawn, if you ever saw that movie years ago, and was in a lot of other movies in the Back to the Future series. And she's gone to television because she wanted regular work. John Goodman did that with Roseanne, but now he's going to leave them next year and go back into movies. So they're swapping around a little bit more. James Woods jumps around between TV movies and regular movies, but it's hard for the Eastwoods and the big stars because they're just making so much money. I mean, Stallone's over in Italy today probably shooting a movie called Daylight. You know, he's getting 19, 20 million bucks.
Why?
You know, well, because those movies do so well overseas. Die Hard with a Vengeance made about $80, $90 million here. Wow. It's done $300 million worldwide.
Goodness.
Wow.
So why not pay somebody $20 million to gross $300 million? That's a pretty good business decision.
Sandra Bullock's hot now, isn't she?
Maybe a little too hot.
Why?
She's good, but she's the hype is too much.
How could it be too much?
Well, I don't think we'll see if she can really open a movie and make big bucks. The Net didn't do that great. I mean, they've kind of, you make a little success and then they just make you bigger and bigger and maybe put you out of business. Jim Carrey is somebody who may be overexposed right now. We'll see if he'll continue to be.
Is the second Pet Detective movie working?
Oh, yeah, it did pretty well. It went real big, real fast.
Do as well as
little kids love it. I mean, it's a lot of toilet humor, a lot of stupid stuff. It's Three Stooges for today.
Yeah,
there's always a market for that.
Jimmy, are you a Mel Brooks fan?
Yes, I am. And disappointingly, the Dracula movie's not very good.
Tell me about it, because that's on my list.
I mean, that's when you ought to wait for home video on. It's Mel Brooks, but he's just not clicking on 8 cylinders like he was back in the days of Blazing Saddles and Frankenstein. So it's got some of the humor, in there, but it's one of those that's probably not worth your $7.
I don't think there was ever a funnier movie made than Frankenstein.
I like Leslie Nielsen. I mean, he's great in the Naked Gun stuff in Airplane, but it's just isn't that great.
Priscilla Presley did good in that stuff, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Who would have thought she could play the part in
Mel
a funny
Brooks,
movie?
but I mean, it's always the same. The jokes are predictable. You know what's going to happen.
He didn't have any Nazis in this one. He always puts a Nazi in his movie.
I tell you, there was a movie called The Producers that he did.
Yeah, that's great. Silent movie. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
And his last couple have just not been that good.
Huh. Okay, back at the station, we're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, your telephone calls at 737-4444, Holiday Entertainment, and we're talking with Jimmy Carter today, who you've heard on this program before, and you will again. Right now, we'll take a break and be right back.
Here.
And we are back on 1240 WKDA Real Radio in Nashville, and you're listening to Online with Teddy and Carlin, and Jimmy Carter's with us today on movies.
What can we expect on Oscar night?
I hope Apollo 13 gets Best Picture. I'm worried about this movie called Sense and Sensibility, which is one of these hoopty-doopty art house movies that's getting a lot of attention with Emma Thompson. I hate those things.
Do you like Emma Thompson?
I think she's fine. But I mean, Apollo 13, is a great film. I mean, it's just a great, Ron Howard deserves the attention and the credit, and it's a nice film. Let Sense and Sensibilities, be seen by that crowd. But
we were talking about Ron Howard this morning. George Lindsay dropped by our morning show, and I mean, he's really an exception to have gone and received all the publicity he did as a child.
He was raised right, is the bottom line of that. I mean, his parents didn't put up with any business when he was Opie, didn't let him get smart mouth or any of that kind of stuff, and they just raised the boy right.
They really did.
They held that discipline on him, and he uses his mom and dad, his dad almost in every movie. And in Apollo 13, his mother, father, and brother are in there.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
The mother, if you're wondering, the lady in the wheelchair who plays Jim Lovell's mother is Ron Howard's mother, and the priest is Ron Howard's father that sits behind, you know, while they're watching it, and his brother plays in Mission Control.
Well, we were talking with George Lindsay this morning on the round table, and I had said, do you expect a call from Ron Howard, maybe you'd be in the next movie or something like that? He says, it'll never happen, or words to that effect. You know, who was to guess that when he was on the set with this little kid on Andy Griffith, that this kid would grow up and become a power in Hollywood.
Be bigger than any of them, including Andy Griffith, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Andy's in a movie coming up. He's in his first movie in years. Making one with Leslie Nielsen is some kind of like airplane type movie.
Oh man,
it'll be out next year.
He's kind of dabbled with his image, hasn't he? From doing Shoney's commercials to Matlock to Andy Griffith. Let's
do that.
Yeah, we got callers waiting. 737-4444 is our number for this hour. Your questions for Jimmy Carter. Hi, you're online with Teddy and Carlin.
Okay, Timmy, I was wondering, was Chuck Colson not featured in the Nixon movie?
He had a minor part. I don't remember it being featured necessarily. You know, I asked about, in fact, I did ask about that because the movie has got so much detail in it, you almost need to see it twice. I mean, and Colson was not brought up a lot. Gordon Liddy is only in it for just a second.
Well, when they were showing the different characters the other evening on the news, they didn't say anything about him, but I think it was on CNN News that they were interviewing Chuck Colson, and he didn't give the movie any acclaim at all.
Well, no, you know, this movie...
He said it was not the Nixon. He knew that...
Right. Everybody
he
hates...
was a very human person, and he said this doesn't come across in the movie.
What this movie does is everybody hates it. The people who are pro-Nixon will hate it. The people who are against Nixon will hate it because Stone ends this movie with the funeral, having Clinton give a very, you know, really rousing, you know, speech and showing all the presidents there honoring Nixon. So I asked Oliver Stone, I said, you never did really come down with a verdict on this movie, did you? And he said, no, the movie speaks for itself. So he did not bash Nixon totally. He showed him as many of us think of Nixon, as someone we're not sure if he was a good guy or a bad guy. We think he was great. We also think he was bad. You know,
thank you.
And you can be both.
Thank you.
I would think that that would be true, though, for most people if they make a movie about, if they made a movie about your father. He was in Alabama, a formidable figure in the judiciary in Alabama. If they would make a movie about any of our, I wonder how close you could really come with what you have to do to get the movie sold and made, with the casting that you must do. How close can you really come to the essence of an individual and say, that's him, they captured him?
Yeah, it happens. I can't think of Gandhi. Maybe that was, you know, that was one of those Ben Kingsley movies. They do it occasionally, but this movie was trying to have a viewpoint, it had an agenda of what was going on. It was showing some things that may or may not have happened. And
John Dean was a consultant on the movie.
For a while, yeah, and there's somebody who was and then quit. Ehrlichman's part was dressed down some because he was threatening to sue. I mean, no one likes this movie as far as people who are involved with it. Disney's daughter has come out against it, you know, saying that the Disney family was friends with the Nixon. It's embarrassing that Disney has come out with a movie that's dishonoring him.
You gotta do it.
But I mean, what's happening to Disney? I know they're running things under different titles.
They're making more money than anybody.
That's just part of it, but Disney has always been so concerned about its squeaky clean image. And
they're concerned about money.
Now it's
Ask anybody that runs a video store. I mean, I think they're a great company, and I think they're an asset to America, really. One of our greatest exports is Walt Disney, but they do, you know, their business. Ask people who run video stores how easy it is to deal with the Walt Disney Company. Tough. Those people are tight.
Do you think Walt's like rolling over in his grave?
I think he's rolled over a few times with some of the movies they've come out with, right. But, you know, Walt was a pretty much right-wing Republican, I believe. And, you know, he was into turning people in, that kind of thing. So, I mean, he was an interesting man.
Is there any, among your friends out in the West Coast, is there any evidence that the political bashing of the values in movies and on television is having an effect? Are they taking it seriously?
I don't think in the movies they are, because they don't care. I mean, they're producing a product for the world. Over 55% now of all money that a movie makes comes from overseas, and even higher. So they're very interested in the domestic box office, but not nearly. They're making a movie as much for India as they are for Indiana. Television is affecting big time. There's going to be a flush heard around the world here in a couple of months with talk shows. I think the sponsors are going to be under more and more pressure. The political action committees are actually working. You know, it's Donald Wildman and that crowd has been out there before, but this is a pretty big crowd now.
Yeah,
that's
it's
out
not
there.
that fringe.
No, it's not the fringe. It's gone into more mainstream, and it's already affected content, and there's a lot of squeaky clean kind of shows that are coming out next year.
Well, and then, it was in the paper today, I guess, that Geraldo says he's getting out of it. He doesn't want to compete with it anymore.
You know, Geraldo
He
is a
started
brilliant.
it.
Geraldo is a good guy, and he's a good journalist. He's always been a little sensational and a showman, and that's always gotten him in trouble. But if you ever, and I don't think we got to watch him in this market, but I saw him some when I was out of town on CNBC during the O.J. trial. He's brilliant. He's wonderful.
He's an attorney, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and he never practiced, but he went through law school.
Yeah.
And he's a neat guy, but he's just, you know, he's trying to make a buck.
Oh, while we brought it up, we got just a few minutes left. I have to get an update on the O.J. stuff. Greta Van Susteren, will she get that interview?
No, not for a long time because it'll mess up the civil thing. O.J.'s just trying to say yes to anybody to get a nice word out of somebody. I heard Greta Van Susteren's in trouble. Ambulance chasing, possibly with her husband in West Virginia. The bar is they're up for some disciplinary charges. So, I mean, that soap opera, it still continues to go on.
It's amazing.
And the civil suit, I mean,
Chris Darden, they're making a movie, big time movie, will be, he's in on it, about a black lawyer who's perceived as being an Uncle Tom. And he's writing the script with somebody, and I think it'll at least be a TV movie, but it may be a movie.
And the trial itself, will that be a movie? Who would we get to play Mark?
You couldn't do it better than the trial.
No, you couldn't have any more twists and turns in that thing. I don't know who would make it.
But O.J. was filming yesterday outside of his home on Bundy. We all know Bundy. And
boy, they want him out of that neighborhood, too. A lot of people have moved.
Is that right?
Oh, yes. I mean, a lot of people have moved. I think Michelle Pfeiffer, for one, lived around the corner. She's gone. A lot of people, Michael Ovitz, I think, lived up there. I mean, the whole neighborhood's screwed up because of it, because it was kind of a quiet neighborhood off a very busy Sunset Boulevard, you know, out near the 405 in Los Angeles, and now everybody's trying to go up in there still. It's just amazing.
Here is a guy who is still professing his innocence, and now he was doing it to a film crew that he hired because he's going to sell the tapes. The tapes are going to go on sale, probably be a 1-800 type of thing. And he was telling that the shovel that they found in the back of the Bronco was used as a pooper scooper. It wasn't to dig a hole, and the bag that was in the back of the Bronco comes with Broncos. They
yeah, I hear
they all have body bags.
They're going to sell that tape along with Pinocchio.
Then
It's a two-part series.
Two-part series. Watch Pinocchio and then watch the O.J.
The nose keeps growing.
It must be terribly frustrating for O.J., who's used to all these deals.
He can't get in the country club. He went to a birthday party with Dionne Warwick the other night in Los Angeles, and she, you know, had him come, and it was like one of the first times. You know, they're.
And how did they react?
Where they're standing on this out there is that they don't know whether he did it or not. I think most people out there think he did it, but he was found not guilty. But they know he was guilty of spousal abuse,
right?
And that is so uncool today out there. They're using that as the excuse, or at least the reason, of why they're not letting him be part of the LA crowd anymore, or the country club crowd.
Maybe she was trying to get him on the Psychic
I was
Friends
going to
network.
say, she can predict his future.
But Dionne is standing by him. He has some people out there that are, but it's most people think it's really uncool to have anything to do with O.J.
Huh.
He's going to have to move out of there soon. He can't.
Where's he going to go? And
Montana or who knows.
And what's the deal with Paula?
I think she's kind of gone away.
That's gone. That's gone.
Paula gone.
Paula gone.
But the whole deal is just very bizarre, and it continues to be bizarre. And you know, the tabloids have been hit with a real downturn in their circulation since the end of the O.J. trial. They were up at record levels, and now they're hurting, you know, in comparison. And so they're still trying to put an O.J. on the cover every once in a while to try to spike that sale thing back up.
And here in Tennessee, the Supreme Court has approved cameras in the courtroom for Tennessee, and I wonder how much of that had to do with the O.J. trial.
I got mixed feelings about that. They'd have to have a lot of, need some strong rules about them.
I agree.
And how long till an Oliver Stone
And
does
I think
that
people
story?
should not be able to make profit out of a camera in the courtroom. It should be a public service thing like the city council deal. And you can have all the cameras you want, but it needs to run on public broadcasting and not on the commercial networks. We can't turn the judicial system into, you know, the next great show. I have a real problem with that.
Jimmy, thank you. Have a good holiday.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you two people.
Yeah,
have a
it's
great
great
96.
Thank you for the book.
You're welcome.
Start reading tonight. Maybe I'll take you to the movie with me and just follow along.
You could read
You know,
the-
one of those people. Read along with it. No, just recite the script out with it.
Don't
It'd
you
be great.
always wind up next to them?
That's right. I'm not a crook. You know.
Teddy, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Next
too.
week online, we'll be doing encore presentations.
That's right. Some of the shows that we're going to be rerunning, the Hossburn Show and Cowboys La Cage. Joe Calloway Goober, George Lindsay, Carney, but those are just some of
Yeah,
the
the Bell Witch Story was hot next Friday. That one will be rerunning. So we'll take a little break here.
That's it for now, folks. Thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful Christmas, a joyful Christmas, and until we see you next, have a good weekend, too.